Hello, and welcome back to Shanon series. If you're new to this channel, then don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more amazing videos. It might seem strange that many people get excited when a group of people toss a ball back and forth, but life is so full of mysteries. What can't be argued is that sports are one of the most celebrated activities in human society. Championships bring entire nations together. People cheer from the sidelines, paint themselves bright colors, throw barbecues at home, and unfortunately, get into fistfights over whose team is better. If aliens were watching, no one knows what they'd think. We've gotten used to games like football and golf that we've forgotten how weird their basic concepts are. However, there are many bizarre, frightening, and sometimes hilarious sports that you've probably never heard of. We will show you the 12 sports you won't believe that actually exist. Number 12. Wife carrying. A wife carrying contest is actually a lot like it sounds. Men carrying wives race through an obstacle course that includes sand, water, and fences. The prize for winning the race is the wife's weight in beer. It's really all very civilized. The sport, yes, it's a sport, originated in Finland and was inspired by a duo of historical tales. A 19th century legend has it that men stole wives from neighboring villages. In a second tale, an outlaw named Rosvo Ronkainen made potential soldiers prove themselves in a race where they carried heavy sacks. Put the two tales together, and what do you get? Wife-carrying races. You'll find wife-carrying contests all over the globe. But the Finnish competition is the mother race. In 2008, 39 couples competed, and historically, the competition has included Finnish, Japanese, Chinese, Irish, American, Australian, English, Kenyan, Swedish, German, and Estonian competitors. Number 11. Caber toss. Caber toss is a traditional Scottish sport and part of the Scottish Highland Games, in which the competition revolves around tossing forward a large tapered pole called a caber. The sport is believed to have originated from friendly lumberjacks' challenges to toss logs across narrow creeks in order to cross them. The poles used for the sport are made from large trees and are typically 19 feet 6 inches long and weighing about 175 pounds. The primary objective is to toss the caber in such a manner that it turns end over end and falls away from the tosser. The distance thrown does not carry any significance. The throw is evaluated based on how the caber lands. If the caber falls in a 12 o'clock position, it is considered to be the most ideal toss. The caber should be carried with a tapered end pointing downwards. The tosser carries the caber with interlocked hands and supporting it against their shoulders. Before the toss, competitors run with the caber for a short distance to gain momentum. In competitions, each competitor normally gets 3 attempts to toss the caber. Points are awarded for each toss based on how the caber lands. End-over-end tosses with the straightest vertical angle are awarded the most points. Number 10. Muggle Quidditch. This isn't a magic trick. While this wizardly sport was invented by J.K. Rowling for her Harry Potter novels, these broomsticks have grown wings. Evidently, Rowling did such a good job outlining gameplay mechanics that here in the Muggle world, a less magical Quidditch has become a real sport. Muggle Quidditch was invented in 2005 by some Potterite students at Vermont Middlebury College, according to the Chicago Tribune. Before you write this off as some silly backyard kick-around, it's worth mentioning that Quidditch now boasts a 16-team major league, not including the many high school and college teams that have popped up. There are uniform field specifications and regulated equipment, and all players must keep a broom between their legs at all times. The quaffle is a volleyball, and the bludgers are dodgeballs, making them a great deal less painful than the bludgers Harry got pummeled by. Meanwhile, according to CNN, the classic golden snitch is actually a person dressed in yellow who tucks a tennis ball into a yellow sock, hangs it from their pants, and then has to run around to prevent seekers from stealing said tennis ball. In short, this is a far cry from the magical and beautiful air dance you remember from the books or movies. But hey, we muggles have limited means. Number 9. Underwater hockey. You know what's intense? Hockey. It's a brutal, unforgiving, fast-paced game that breaks more bones in a given week than The Punisher. You'd think team sports couldn't get much more extreme, but one day, a gang of crazy people decided regular hockey wasn't scary enough. So, they grabbed their sticks, threw the puck into a swimming pool, and added running out of oxygen to the list of potential hazards. Meet underwater hockey, also known by the name of Octopush. Underwater hockey dates back to the 1950s, and there are world championships. The mechanics are similar to regular hockey, where you use sticks to smack the puck into a goal. What differs is that the entire match takes place inside a swimming pool, which is at least safer than doing it at the bottom of a lake. A standard Octopush game lasts about 33 minutes, with two 15-minute halves and a 3-minute break. So yeah, be prepared to hold your breath for long periods of time if you want to win. Perhaps due to the extreme nature of the sport, underwater hockey teams are said to be kind and welcoming to new players. Newbies are given neon orange sticks, so other players know to be nicer to them, to start at least. Number 8. CYCLEBALL. Sure, the first time you see people playing soccer while riding bicycles, it looks awfully strange. But on the other hand, baseball probably looked ridiculous the first time people saw it, and now it's a national pastime. What makes CYCLEBALL great is that it doesn't require any special equipment that the average sports fan doesn't already have. To make a game work, all that's needed is one bicycle per player. Although pros modify theirs a little, but you can make it work. A net, and a ball that's sturdy enough to get the crap kicked out of it. The rules are similar to soccer, so it's not a steep learning curve. Though CYCLEBALL might sound like something a bunch of teenagers made up for a silly YouTube video, it actually has a long history. Europeans have enjoyed CYCLEBALL since the late 19th century, though it has traditionally been known as Radball. Take note that if you want to take your CYCLEBALL game to the next level, you should modify your bike. Official Radball bikes have their handlebars positioned straight up, and the bikes are locked into fixed gear so players can ride backwards without skipping a beat. Number 7. Giant Pumpkin Kayaking. It's the Great Pumpkins, Charlie Brown! If you thought pumpkins were only useful for jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkin pie, well, you're in for a big surprise. According to Time, some 800-pound monsters can be carved out and used as kayaks. Though the shape is a bit weird. People all over the world have manned their mighty orange vessels in daring races to see who can paddle their pumpkin the fastest. According to National Geographic, people have steered their pumpkin kayaks as far as 26 miles. An exhausting 14-hour journey that's no laughing matter, even if the boat itself is. The biggest joy of giant pumpkin kayaking is that it's truly a DIY affair, where people grow their own pumpkins, hollow them out, and then plop them in the water for local seasonal events. No motors or modifications are allowed. The pumpkin must sink or float in its own orange skin, with you and a paddle to keep it going. Pumpkin kayaking regattas take place all over the world, including in Nova Scotia, New England, and the Pacific Northwest. So wherever you live, watch for the leaves to change colors and then look out! There might be a giant pumpkin paddling your way! Number 6. Toe wrestling. We do thumb wars in elementary school. Then we graduate to arm wrestling. All of this is pretty silly, but why would anyone presume that the body part championships have to end there? While nose wars haven't yet become a thing that we know of, there are some circles where toe wrestling is considered a serious sport. And yes, there's a World Toe Wrestling Championship. It takes place in Derbyshire, England, and according to Reuters, England always wins. Competitors get their feet rubbed before a match in order to loosen up and relax their foot muscles. When the game is on, toe fighters lock big toes and see who can pin the other person's foot down. Though men and women compete, battles between the sexes are not allowed. The annual tradition was kicked off by a pub landlord in 1976, so it's got a few decades of history behind it. One can only guess how long the trail of broken toes is. Just ask Alan Nasty Nash, the 2017 world champion. According to CBC, Nash claims to have once broken 4 toes in the semi-finals and still battled on to win the finals. Now there's a guy who can stand on his own 2 feet. Number 5. Extreme sitting. No, sorry. No matter how thrilling that new Netflix series might be, or how fast your heart pounds when you're playing a first-person shooting game, you don't get to consider sitting down a sport. Spending hours of the day plopped in a chair without any form of stretching or lifting is terrible for you. But if you're intent on finding a way to transform sitting into an athletic activity, then this might be the sport for you. This is the art of Hockern, also known as extreme sitting. While the English name sounds like dumb college humor, Hockern devotees take their sport quite seriously. Rather than using office chairs or beanbags, extreme sitting involves a specialized stool called a sport hocker, which, according to The Australian, was created by the dynamic German duo of Stephen and Michael Landschutz. According to Wired, the key to being a successful hocker is to do a lot of cool, crazy tricks with a sport hocker, then finish it off by successfully planting your butt on the stool. So the extreme sitting is what you do at the end, not the beginning. Got it? Anyhow, Hockern has reportedly become a trend in its German homeland, with contests held across the country. In 2011, the sports industry trade show ISPO said that the popular stool had more than just a product. It is a movement, a trend, a new sport. Hock and roll! Number 4. Blind soccer. There are millions of people all over the world that follow the fast-paced sport of soccer, and the numbers keep growing. It is a popular sport that the people without the ability to see have taken into it and are doing great. Blind soccer is one sport that encourages disabled people to get out of their comfort zone and explore something that the whole world takes part in. It is pretty much like regular soccer, except for the ball, which is filled with pebbles or marbles, which help the players locate it, and the only people who do have the ability to see are the goalies. Blind soccer, also known as 5A-side soccer or football 5A-side, is an adaptation of soccer for athletes with a visual impairment. The sport has been governed by the International Blind Sports Federation or IBSA since 1996 and is played by modified FIFA rules. blind soccer debuted at the Paralympic Games for the first time at the Athens 2004 Paralympics and has been contested at every game since. World Championships take place every 4 years, and Brazil won gold at every Paralympics. All in all, a very exciting sport to watch or take part in. Number 3. Bubble Football League. Bubble football is the sport of playing football while the upper body is encased in a transparent inflatable bubble similar to a zorb. The same rules of normal football apply, with teams locking to score into their rival team's goal, though the game is given added complication due to the presence of the bubble. Players will bounce off each other when competing for the ball, which for most people is the main aim of the game, with players deliberately colliding with their opponents like bumper cars in order to send them sprawling across the pitch. It can be played indoors or outdoors, usually on AstroTurf or all-weather pitches with around 6 players per side. The game was invented in 2011 as a joke by Norwegian comedians Henrik Elvestad and Johan Golden, appearing on their comedy talk show Golden Goal. Clips of the game were posted online and immediately began to attract attention elsewhere across the globe. By 2014, it was being played across the world from New Zealand to the United States, often called as bubble ball. Number 2. Volcano boarding. Riding a board down the sidewalk? Sure. Surfing one on the waves? Okay. Riding it down a snowy mountain? Sounds cool and people love it. However, if you want to get the most out of a vacation in Nicaragua, the best way is to strap a board to your feet and then surf down the side of an active volcano, stirring up volcanic dust at almost 60 miles per hour. According to The Independent, volcano boarding is an old sport in Nicaragua where locals used to race down the hot black slopes on anything from a surfboard to a dusty old mattress. These days, volcano boarding is a little more refined thanks to custom-built boards and protective jumpsuits. Though volcano boarding can get incredibly dangerous, no kidding, fans are mesmerized by every aspect of it. The adrenaline rush, the distinct smell of the sulfur, and the sight of lava boiling in the volcano's crater is an experience like no other. Besides, when it comes to bragging rights, it's really hard to top. Hey guys, I boarded down an active volcano! That's a party story that no one will ever beat. Number 1. Shock fighting. Mixed martial arts, known as MMA, can be brutal. That's kind of the point. However, no matter how bloody an MMA fight can get, what makes it a real sport is the existence of rules, regulations, judges, and the fact that the gloves of the competitors aren't mini tasers. If you want that, check out Shock Fighting, MMA's extreme nephew. Shock fighting doesn't seem like an official sport, but it's wacky enough to talk about. It is to MMA what the forgotten or reworked character of Bugs Bunny was supposed to be Bugs Bunny. Though we'll see if it lasts any longer than Buzz did, given that shock fighting involves people violently zapping each other, the odds don't look great. Electricity punches are fine for Marvel villains, but in real life, the results can be horrifying. For what it's worth, MixedMartialArts.com does not approve, calling it trash MMA. Others have referred to shock fighting as the craziest, most barbaric sport man has ever created. That might be going a bit far, considering that ancient Romans used to cheer at actual death matches. Still, shock fighting is pretty scary. Are they fun and exciting? Well, that's for you to decide really. If you like this video, then don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we upload a new video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.